Hey friends, this is Charles here, and I want to do a review and also kind of a retrospective look back from another series. Last night, I was so excited to get into the new Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics. I am loving this run and this series, and it is starting a new story arc. And I was talking to a very patient friend who indulges my nerdy conversation about how this ties almost directly into another Conan story from Ablaze Comics a couple years back, the Cimmerian, the Frost Giant's daughter. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The first time I read The Frost Giant's Daughter, I took a couple of looks at it, but there were two things that made it a hard read for me. One was it was back when I was recovering from COVID, and my cognition and my mental acuity was all over the place. And so while I enjoyed reading those comics, I didn't quite comprehend all of what I was reading, and that was what I was taking in as far as media or whatever. And another thing was there was no context in the Cimmerian story. Um, Ablaze at the time they were putting out a bunch of more adult oriented stories, and it really, the Cimmerian one really featured, the uncensored aspect of Robert E. Howard's Conan. And so when I went to the book, you meet Conan as he's being watched post battle. You don't know who the battle was with, you don't know what it was over, you don't know when it was in Conan's timeline. All you know is that he is the lone survivor, seemingly, of a major battle. And there's a mysterious redhead watching him from afar with two polar bears for some reason. And it goes on from there. Um, she kind of pursues him and kind of seduces him into chasing her and following her. And you come to find out that this is not an ordinary young lady. She is the daughter of a fallen god who seeks out the strongest men to sacrifice to her father. Um, and like I said, like I said, the story kind of, I like to have context. And there really wasn't a lot of context there. You kind of had to put things together as you went along. And like I said, there was a lot of, let's just say I'm not going to show you any panels from the Frost Giant's daughter because that might get me kicked off of YouTube. It didn't go over the top with the sensuality, but it was definitely a big aspect of it. And so when I saw, at the end of the last book, at the end of Conan 13 from Titan Comics, there was a young lady following in the distance, with red hair. My first thought was, okay, redhead, Conan universe, Red Sonja. But then it's like, well, duh, no, that's not her. She's a warrior. She didn't have her chainmail or any weaponry. I mean, even if you go back to the first appearance of Red Sonja, she didn't have the chainmail bikini, but it was, a fur skin of some type, and she had weapons and warrior accoutrement. And so she was never, going to be seen as a vulnerable woman out, you know, with only a thin loincloth. And so I put two and two together and assumed correctly that was the Frost Giant's daughter. And I was curious of where they were going to take the story. And this picks up, right after Conan is leaving home. He wants to venture out and find himself and prove his manhood in his own merit. And right, this is right after he killed a bear, and some nefarious actors are trying to come, and they plan on taking his kill and killing him. And he turns the tables, and he ends up joining forces with the band that these ill-fated men belong to. And so, it's a story of him, kind of being accepted into this band, and they share, in his feast, and he's proves himself to be the toughest warrior amongst them. Needless to say, by this point, we're 5 minutes in. Yes, there's gonna be spoilers, but you get to see him, bond with these men the whole time. Here she is, not interacting, not nothing, just kind of watching and leering and lurking, behind, watching him, become a part of this clan, and you find out who their mortal enemy is. And after an assault by them, they go out to battle, and the battle is vicious and bloody and brutal. And Conan is, showing himself, you know, to be a worthy opponent. And as the fight goes on, she is watching and she's eyeing, the different people in the fight, and she has her favorites of who she is going to pick for some reason. And lo and behold, they're all bested by Conan. And, like I said, this story here was, so far back in my mind that I didn't put two and two together. And I was like, okay, well, let's see how close these stories are. And so I read the whole run of The Frost Giant's Daughter, number 1 through number 3. And if you go back, if you read number 14 and then you go straight to The Frost Giant's Daughter, it's really a complete story. And I don't think it ruins the story here because they're obviously telling it from a different perspective, different writers, and so you're gonna get something different from this telling of it. But it's cool to put this in the context. The battle at the end of this is the battle in the beginning of this, and you don't know who she is or what her purpose is, but you know that she is sussing out what's going on in the battlefield, trying to pick a warrior for some reason or another. And then when you go back to the Frost Giant's Daughter, it picks up right where this leaves off. And one thing that my friend who I was talking with earlier, last night, she's like, "Wow, it's amazing that you have so many different universes that they all can connect up, and that you can connect something from this book and this company to this book and this company." And that is what really made me go back and look at Froststein's Daughter with this new context, and I was not disappointed. And I'm even more looking forward to what's going to happen in this Titan Comics run. Um, it's kind of like seeing the same story but from a different perspective, where you're looking at the same site, but as opposed to seeing it from a valley, you're looking at it from a mountain. And so I'm excited to see where this goes. And it also, gives me hope that we might see other Conan stories and characters. Maybe we'll get to meet Red Sonja in this universe. Or I'm really hoping that maybe we get to, meet Bella, the pirate queen, and get a new take on their meeting and their romance, and so on and so forth from Titan Comics. That would be great. Marvel teased it with their last run, and they didn't bring it to fruition. And so I'm really hoping that we get to see Bella, the Queen of the Black Coast, materialize in the Titan Comics run. But yeah, definitely pick this up. And if you can, go back and pick up the Cimmerian, Frostshines' Daughter, 3 issues from Blaze Comics. Well worth a read. Pardon me. I read them all in one sitting last night. It was a quick read in a good way. And it really, like I said, this makes this all the better. So that's been my thoughts on Conan the Barbarian, how it ties into the Frost Giant's daughter from the Cimmerian. I'm really looking forward to it. So get you a copy, and if you don't have a little comic book store, like I don't have a little comic book store, check out my friend Jeff at coffeeandthecomics.com. They always have great deals on shipping, and they ship nationwide at great prices. So go check them out. Tell them I sent you. Hopefully, we'll get another discount code coming up. Jeff, you hear me? I want that hookup. But anyway, you guys be easy. As always, I'll see you next time. Until then, keep reading them books. I am out.